Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today from Syndicate Collectibles and Arc System Works, we are featuring Double Dragon Willy. Alright, so we have the big boss from Double Dragon, a game I'm incredibly fond of. Already I reviewed Billy and Jimmy Lee, and those figures, they're pretty fair, they're pretty decent. But I kind of feel like the star of the show is the Willy action figure. The Jimmy and Billy Lee figures, they're essentially identical, which makes sense because of the video game. But on the downside, they both came with the same accessories, so it kind of felt like you're paying a lot of money for the same thing twice. This, on the other hand, is awesome. This is a completely unique sculpt, and you get a lot of accessories with Willy. You get multiple hands, a large weapon, and it's just a cool looking figure. It looks awesome. I'm really stoked on this. It almost kind of looks like a weird, crazy version of actor Liam Neeson. Alright, so on the back, Willy, armed with an exceptionally deadly machine gun, Willy Mackey is the formidable boss of the gang known as the Black Warriors, who dominate the criminal underworld of New York after the war. And then here is the very iconic first level from the original game. And then we also have Jimmy and Billy Lee. So, let's get started. Alright, so the original Double Dragon came out, I believe, in 1987. It was published by Technos of Japan, and the game has seen multiple sequels and iterations since then. There was the reboot back in, I think, 2012, and then I think 2 years ago in 2023, there was Double Dragon Gaiden, Rise of the Dragons. Multiple companies besides Technos has published Double Dragon, like Taito, I think Majesco, even SNK with their Rage of Dragons fighting game. But currently Arc System Works is the current publisher of Double Dragon, and they produce awesome fighting games. Like if you've ever played like Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, those are amazing, or even that Dragon Ball FighterZ game. Okay, so we have Willy here, awesome looking figure, multiple hands, and crazy machine gun. Alright, so word of caution, this is made of that, it feels like it's made of that much more fragile plastic, so just exercise some care. I don't think this is made of that kind of plastic that kind of like bends and flexes like a Marvel Legends. This kind of feels like, almost like, maybe like a NECA accessory, where it's kind of much more, I don't want to say brittle, but, it's not, it has no give, essentially. So just be careful. You don't want to accidentally break the stand or snap a piece off. The belt here, though, the ammo belt is made of a soft plastic, though. So this is flexible at least. Alright, so we have Willy Mackey here, the big boss of Double Dragon, the original game. Nice heft on this figure. It has some weight to it. The build quality feels like it's on par with the Billy and Jimmy Lee figures. The plastic on those figures felt, pretty decent. This guy, it comes in at 7 3/4. For a size comparison, here he is next to the Double Dragon brothers. We have Billy and Jimmy. You can see the size difference, much taller figure. This line of figures, it's a lot larger than a Marvel Legends. Here's Vulcan, a very standard Marvel Legends figure. You'll notice that it's smaller scale. This is roughly a 6-inch scale action figure, whereas Double Dragon is about 7 inches. The Double Dragon figures, they're much more in line with like McFarlane's action figures. Here's Batman, and then here is Malefic Spawn. So, they're kind of like within that height range, albeit just being a little bit smaller. But coming back to Willy, let's take a look at him. Beautifully sculpted head. He has a crazy brow. Just look at that. He's almost like a caveman. I love the shoulder pad. It's very Mad Max. This whole costume is very Mad Max, even his coat. And if I remember correctly, the original Double Dragon story takes place after a nuclear war. So it's kind of it's almost like a near dystopia, post-apocalyptic world, but not fully there yet. You know, I think there's some semblance of like organized civilization in the first game. Nice texture on his costume. Decent paint applications. So the Double Dragon line is the first time I've ever handled any Syndicate Collectibles action figures. I'm not sure if this is the first time they've produced action figures or if they have other lines, but the build quality feels nice. In terms of articulation, we have movement in his head. Let's get him back into focus. It looks left and right. Doesn't really look up or down. Just kind of nods a little bit. The arms, there's kind of like a ball-socketed butterfly joint, much like a McFarlane figure. But the range of motion seems a little bit limited. And the arms, much like the Billy and Jimmy Lee figure, they don't go up all that high when you go outward. It kind of stops right there. It collides with the ball socket right there. So this is pretty much the extent of raising the arms outward. But they fully rotate. There's a bicep swivel. Pinless design for the elbows. And this one's stiff. I don't want to break it. Yeah, that one's kind of stiff. I'm being a little cautious with these figures because these are kind of hard to come across. And they cost a lot of money too. These are like $50 a pop. So yeah, there's an ab crunch. Doesn't crunch forward all that much. Doesn't really arch back. Legs kick up, and they can kind of see the inside of the hip articulation. Much like a McFarlane, even like G.I. Joe Classified series, this is kind of like a rubbery piece for the lower crotch area. And then the knee is very stiff on my figure. I don't want to force it, but it's double jointed, pinless design. This doesn't move as smooth as the Double Dragon figures. These move like butter. Very nice. This is very stiff, and I'm not sure how durable this plastic is, and I don't want to get too nuts with this, so I'll just leave it be. And then you have articulated ankles. Overall, this figure is the more, for lack of a better term, the more attractive of the trio. It feels like you're getting more bang for your buck. But unfortunately, it's not as articulated as well as the brothers. These figures move pretty decent. This one, like I said, it's kind of scary trying to articulate the knees. It feels very stuck, and same with the elbows. And I don't want to force it either, so. But if you're looking for just a great display piece, you know, it's not like they make Double Dragon figures every day. You don't, you know, beggars can't be choosers. So just weigh out your options. You know, if you're a big fan, this might be worth it for you. But if this is something you could pass on, I don't think you're going to be losing any sleep. They're great, don't get me wrong, but at this price point, they're very expensive. And, you know, I don't want to say there's better options. You know, I was kind of hoping that these would be on the same level as like Storm Collectibles. Like Storm Collectibles, they've been dabbling in video game figures forever. You know, they have Mortal Kombat, they have Street Fighter, and they even have Streets of Rage. I was kind of hoping these would be along the same level as a Storm Collectibles figure, but, you know, it's kind of fell a little bit short. But I am stoked to have these in my collection. Again, I am a fan of the game, so. Alright, so let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.